stream. This will be probably a little bit of a shorter live stream. These are also just more the hangout and chill out live streams. We talk about kind of whatever we want. I did have this quote, which I wanted to share, which I'm going to put in the chat, because my hope is we can maybe discuss it tomorrow in a little bit greater detail. Or I guess technically today, the next live stream, the 1 a.m. live stream. Or sorry, the 1 p.m. live stream. It's not the best. I'm not going to lie to you. It's not the best. But I eat well, or I'm trying to eat better, and I drink lots of water and drink lots of coffee. So I'm hoping that makes up for the terrible sleep schedule. How's it going, Alonzo? Hope you're doing well. If you want to help me with my sleep schedule, you can become a patron. If you become a patron, for free, it still helps with the channel altogether. So patreon.com/Square and Compass Promotions, and you can check us out there. And it would be truly appreciated. Patreon.com/Square and Compass. I'll put it down in the chat as well. /Square and Compass. In the meantime, though, please hit that like button. Please hit that subscribe button. As always, let me know what you want to talk about when it comes to Freemasonry. Let me know what you think about the quote I've included there and anything else that you want to talk about. And don't forget, we have coming up our 24-hour live stream starting August 21st at 2 p.m. And going till August 22nd, 2 p.m. We can get a Patreon for free. Like, it doesn't cost you anything, so I hope you'll consider it. But if not, I appreciate you being here and subscribing to this podcast on YouTube. It's truly appreciated. Oh, I'm not sure why. It's probably up on mine. So the quote is, if Freemasonry fails to live by superior, disinterested ideas, by the lofty aims of serving mankind, and merely to serve its own interests, it must unfailingly perish, grow benumbed, wear itself out, and die. That is actually a quote from Dostoevsky that was originally about mankind, but I applied to Freemasonry. So one more time, if Freemasonry fails to live by superior, disinterested ideas, by the lofty aims of serving mankind, and merely serving its own interests, it must unfailingly perish, grow benumbed, wear itself out, die. It is, but, sometimes you got to be a little bit dark, right? In my opinion, I think that's the case. If Freemasonry fails to live by the idea of serving mankind and is more interested in serving its own interests, of, quote unquote, making good men better, define as you will, then it will perish, I think, over time. Welcome. I got some hearts in the stream. I don't know if that's Smokey, but whomever it might be, hit some hearts, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, jump in the chat, and let me know if you have any thoughts on Freemasonry. Positive, negative, or neutral. No worries, Smokey. No rush at all. But thank you for being here. I hope that you are doing well. And there's no rush at all. We got all the time in the world. So get back to work. I know that you usually are saying you get crazy, you get the crazy busy schedule. Welcome. If you're just joining us, please take a moment, hit that like and subscribe button, and jump in the chat. And let me know if you have any thoughts on Freemasonry, positive, negative, or neutral. It seems to be you with the hearts, which I much appreciate. Though let's have some other people take advantage of, or follow Smokey's lead, I should say, and hit those hearts. Is that Bukowski? Something with the people with the joy of men that have built the community. You are not wrong, Alonzo, as someone who has had his own has his own issues with burnout over the years. You absolutely cannot help others if you do not help yourself. And you don't want to be short-sighted about things, but you also don't want to use self-care as an excuse to not help people, which I do believe can sometimes be the case, unfortunately. And I think you need to find a balance, but I do think it'd be really dangerous. It's very easy sometimes for people to use the idea of self-care as an excuse to not help people, which I think is or can be a very dangerous approach to take for whatever it's worth. But if you are just joining us, especially if you're new to the stream, take a moment, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Well, Cynthia, that is a very trollish statement. I do believe I'm going to have to block you. Thank you. This is my nighttime clothing. My nighttime shirt is red. My favorite color is pink, which is close to red, so there is at least that. So that is something, if nothing else, right? The color pink is close to red. I agree, Alonzo. I agree 100%. We talked about that earlier today, right? That was one of the notes that the author on Twitter made about Steve Jobs' life and the way Steve Jobs viewed the world. Where he said, let me see if I can find the actual quote, because I agree with it. And I think we should focus on wanting to contribute things. Welcome, EA Freemason. I hope that you're doing well. Thank you, Courtney, for being here. As always. Let's see. I gotta find these things once again. Here it is. When it comes to the idea of helping people, he believed that you should use your unique set of talents to make things that make the lives of other people better. Most people just take. He said, the ability to put something back into the pool of human experience is extremely neat. I'm not sure what you mean, Chris, by is Masonry accept. I think Freemasonry kind of needs to accept artificial intelligence in the sense that artificial intelligence is coming whether we want it to or not. So I think we need to be aware of it and be prepared for how it will affect just life in general, not exclusively Freemasonry, but just life in general. And need to pay attention to those things, right? Because it's very easy for us to say artificial intelligence doesn't matter, it doesn't affect Freemasonry. First of all, it does. It's going to become, I think, the primary way by which people learn what Freemasonry is going to be by asking Grok or asking ChatGPT, what is Freemasonry? So just as in the past, we needed to know and understand what Google search results were for the question, like, what is Freemasonry? We now need to pay attention to and understand what Grok, what ChatGPT, what, Google AI is saying about what Freemasonry is when it comes to Google. When it comes to artificial intelligence, we need to know, how we can use it to our advantage and disadvantage. But the number of different ideas on artificial intelligence within Freemasonry would equal at least the number of jurisdictions therein. I don't know if it's going to improve money. It's going to change money quite a bit. It's going to change the way people interact with finances. It's going to change the way people interact with almost every aspect of their life, which is why I think it's so important that for us, Masonry, I don't know why I read that as money. I tend to agree. I'm somebody who's much more, positive about artificial intelligence, I suppose, than others. I think, as a general rule, I think, technology tends to make things better for us. And I would include artificial intelligence as just another form of technology, as well as another form of things that is alive, that exists, if you can prove it's artificially intelligent and self-aware, I think it should be given the same rights as everybody else, which is a whole other can of tuna. I do not know what that is a reference to. Do you mean race cars, like they were racing? Oh, Pierre Poilievre elected as MP for Battle River Crowfoot. retains status as the leader of the official opposition. Just on a side note. But yeah, we have one more time this quote here, which I think is really good. If I could find it now one more time. I'll find it actually from my Twitter. Oh, cool. Okay, how'd they do? Did they beat? Were they faster than humans would be? Because I know getting them to run is really tough. Like, it's not as easy as people think to build robots that can run and jump and all the rest of it. Um, Really cool. I mean, one of my favorite TV shows for a while was Westworld, so I'm on board for humans or robots and humans coexisting, hosts, if you will. Yes, get back to work, Smokey, but thank you for being here. Well, when you're running, balance is huge, and trying to program computers is really tough. So the quote was, this is from Dostoevsky: if nations fail to live by superior disinterested ideas, by the lofty aims of serving mankind, and merely to serve its own interests, they must unfailingly perish, grow and be dumbed, wear themselves out, die. I think you can change the term to, if Freemasonry fails to live by superior disinterested ideas, by the lofty aims of serving mankind, and merely to serve its own interests, Freemasonry must unfailingly perish, grow, be numbered, wear themselves out, die. So that is my opinion on that. I think it's true. I want to talk about it tomorrow a little bit. But if we don't have the aim of serving mankind and we rather just serve our own interests, we're not going to make it very far, in my opinion. I mean, Freemasonry. We're not going to make it any further than we've already made it. We've already had a pretty great run and done a lot of pretty incredible and amazing things, but that doesn't mean that we cannot do a lot more, or that we shouldn't try to do a lot more. But it has to start with looking outward to others, not inward. Does Freemasonry? Well, it does not. I mean, with the exception of there may be Freemasons who want to run for office who may use some of the Masonic ritual and philosophies as a way to kind of guide their governing philosophy. But Freemasonry never really played a role in politics. Certainly because Freemasonry was ubiquitous, there were more Freemasons involved in politics in previous centuries, but there was also more Freemasons who were just anything, farmers to captains, to pick any type of job. Freemasonry was so ubiquitous, there were just more of them around. And certainly because there were more Freemasons in politics, I think Masonic philosophies and ideals had a greater sway in political thought. You saw that with Jose Rizal in the Philippines. You saw that with Garibaldi, I can't think of his name now. Italy, basically the founder of modern Italy. George Washington, Enlightenment era philosophies and politics in general, Ben Franklin. But because there's less Freemasons in 2025, it's simply a matter of just less. Because there's less Freemasons in 2025, it has less of an influence on all aspects of life, including politics. I hope that you guys are doing well. Please take a moment, hit the like and subscribe button. Let me know how you're doing, and if there's anything that you want to chat about when it comes to Freemasonry, any thoughts you have, positive, negative, neutral. I'm getting ready for the 30th. We'll see how I do. I got to start doing some push-ups. And some sit-ups just to get ready. Agung Moliano, you can't see his comment, but he jumped on the stream. Agung, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, leave some hearts, and then I'll answer your question. How about that? That is a very tough question. That is almost something that I would be better off answering on the 24-hour live stream. I mean, certainly I think, I'll give you a very basic answer because there's a lot of parts to it. I think we in Freemasonry need to start expecting more from a membership and treating it not simply as something you can come and go from, but rather as a commitment on equal footing with work and family. Otherwise, we are always going to struggle with maintaining membership and maintaining engagement. We need to put more of an emphasis on engaged members and less of an emphasis on our members. We need to put more of an emphasis on having professional standards for things like certifications, insurance, things of that nature. We need to care about all of that stuff. But that's a really good question, Alonzo. Don't worry. It's one of those things where we 100%, I think, need to, I don't even know what the word is, need to think about that a lot more. But maybe I'll talk about it on the 24-hour live stream. I mean, I think that we as Freemasons need to consider those things. Focusing on the basics is a good idea. That was one of the skills that Steve Jobs had that he talked about a lot, is the extent to which he focused on first aid, focused on the basics, focused on first principles. That is often the case. Welcome, though. If you are just joining us, please take a moment, hit that like and subscribe button. We're here to talk about Freemasonry and answer questions and just hang out. No, Wyatt Derp, I have never, because my life is boring. You know, I keep waiting for it to happen. That's the whole reason I joined Freemasonry. And so far, no luck. So I must have done something wrong. But that's okay. I must be boring, you know? Well, but I mean, you might be a butcher, or you might have lived on a farm, or whatever it is. So that's a whole different can of tuna. That's, you know, I have no problem with that. But even for that, I don't think there's any Freemasons out there, you know, bringing animals into lodge to sacrifice them before the barbecue. They probably just go to the supermarket. But I hope that everybody is doing well. Thank you so much for being here. Please take a moment, hit that like button and subscribe button. Let me know if there's anything when it comes to Freemasonry that you want to talk about. Could be positive, negative, or neutral. I'd still love to hear it. Even the negative stuff helps me. You know, it helps me a lot because it helps me learn why I love Freemasonry and how best to respond. We are not. I mean, we're very boring. Like, let me tell you, there's boring and then there's super boring. So we are super boring. I mean, boring doesn't mean bad though. Boring, actually, sometimes boring can mean, sometimes boring can be a really, really good thing. Not fun doesn't mean not rewarding, not purposeful, right? I think that's something that we sometimes forget about when we're talking about this, where I've talked about this a lot in the past. Like, people will say a Masonic business meeting can be dull, and we should try to make them interesting. But at the same time, Reading the minutes matters. Paying the bills matters. Correspondence matters. Bylaws matter. That stuff is very rewarding if you know why it's being done and the value behind it and the way that it will help future generations. Um, I mean, history of Freemasonry is fascinating. It depends how far back you want to take it or this and that. Generally, 1717, June 24th, is kind of the start date of Freemasonry. June 24th, 1717 is the start date. At least that's the date I go with. 255, Michelle was there, I think, right, Ryan? I was exhausted because that was the same day that we did the Masonic Child Identification, the CHIP program, which was an absolute blast. I volunteered at that from 2 to 6, and we had 4 kids take part in the program with the parents, obviously, or guardians involved, which was great. First time since pre-COVID. So it was really, really cool. They were pretty harsh on Masons. They were not a fan of the Freemasons. There's actually several, I forget the exact number, but several Masons placed in concentration camps. And there was one active Masonic lodge that actually met in a concentration camp. It was called Cherished Liberty, was the English translation. I believe it was in a Belgium concentration camp, if I recall correctly. Though I might have the country wrong. I mean, there's a lot. I mean, there's so much kind of. Most people, when they're thinking of 1717 to 1936, would probably start by focusing on United Grand Lodge of England or the Premier Grand Lodge of England, the division and the split between that and you had the ancients and the moderns, then the unification, the United Grand Lodge of England. You had what? Prince Hall. You had Freemasonry taking hold in America. Oh God, what else? A lot of Masons in South America and overseas who kind of had a leftist view of Freemasonry, using it to kind of promote democratic ideals, like in the Philippines, in Italy, in Brazil. Oh God, the Catholic Church and Freemasonry having a whole thing, or really the Catholic Church having a whole thing with Freemasonry. It is not Wyatt Earp. So what was this split? Oh my God, I got to study that. So basically, in 1717, you had the formation of at that time, what was called the Premier Grand Lodge of England. They ended up, Masons having a disagreement or disagreements over the type of form and practice of Masonic rituals. The ancients basically believed that the correct approach to Masonic ritual was found in more ancient versions of it. The moderns believed that, modern Masonic ritual was the way to go. Basically, there was a split from about 1750 or so until 1823, something like that. They united in 1813 once again. But that is why, for example, Alonzo, sometimes you'll see Freemasonry referred to as AF and AM, Ancient Free and Accepted Masons. And sometimes you'll see Freemasonry referred to as F and AM, Free and Accepted Masons. That is because if your lodge was with the ancients versus moderns, that's what was decided. It was actually 1751 the split took place. If I can remember correctly, let's see. I believe AF and AM references lodges that were formed from the ancients, and F and AM the moderns. AFAM versus FAM. I just remember which is which. Okay, so I was right. Moderns So if you had a lodge that was chartered or formed from the modern Grand Lodge in England, it was free and accepted, F and AM. But if you had a lodge that was formed with the ancients, with the split, again, those Masons who believed the best ritual was, the older rituals versus modern ritual, it was AF and AM. So that's why in Ontario, my lodge is considered AF and AM because we were initially chartered out of the ancient Grand Lodge of England. But if you look at a lot of Prince Hall, it's free and accepted Masons because their Grand Lodges were chartered out of the modern lodges in modern Grand Lodge in England. And then they had this split from 1751 to 1831. Sorry, they had this split from 1751 to 1813. And in 1813, the ancient and modern factions rejoined together, formed the United Grand Lodge of England, basically combined a lot of the ritual into one, and, kept on fighting ever since, but at least fighting in a unified family as opposed to individually. Freemasons will always find something to debate about amongst themselves. Depends, Ryan, on the lodge. I can tell you for my lodge, one of my lodges were Worshipful Master. Currently, it's about $200 to join. So, but it's really good. $250, I think, actually. But it really depends on the lodge. Each lodge will set its own price based on its operating costs and expenses and other forms of revenue. Welcome. If you're just joining us, please hit that like and subscribe button. Let me know if there's anything you want to talk about. If you go to this day in Masonic history, you can actually find out a lot about this debate. So, yeah, it's worth checking out. So you'd have to check with Trinity because I don't know how much it costs to join. But I'm assuming if you did join, you'd want to join first and foremost with Trinity, which would be awesome. Trinity's a great lodge. Your dad's a great guy. And I'm sure they would be honored to have you be a member. I'm sure your pops would be honored as well for you to be a member. So, but that's up to you, right? At the end of the day, it's your decision. You never want to join just to make your family happy. You want to join because it's something you want to do first and foremost. But then, I'm sure your dad would be very, very happy and excited and proud to have you join. Well, I do from this son joining with a father in lodge, right? I joined, my dad was a Mason. He was there for my degrees. I don't know the feeling from a dad, what it's like to be a dad and watch your son join, but I'm sure it's pretty incredible. At least he says it was. So I'm sure it was a great feeling for all involved, or is a great feeling for all involved, I should say. There's no rush. That's the beautiful thing. There's absolutely no rush. Freemasonry is not going anywhere. I do hope everybody, though, is doing well. If you're just joining us, please hit that like and subscribe button. We're just here hanging out. By the way, I'm going to mention, just because people always ask me what my favorite food is. I love, I've said a million times, I love seafood. And I do. It's absolutely my favorite food. But I also really like Indian food. And this really great Indian restaurant in Windsor that was on Olette closed, which made me sad because I used to eat there all the time. But I discovered, in a cool moment, a new Indian place that had really great food. And it was called Indian Swad. Indian SWAAD. It's on, I believe that was the name of it. Let me just make sure. It's on Tecumseh Road East. Yes, Indian Swad. It's on Tecumseh Road East, basically Tecumseh and Hall. Really great food. I love Indian food a lot. It's next to a barber shop, and yeah, so shout out to them for delicious food. Oh, I got to make it to Peru now. Freemason, Courtney, you gave me a new plan. It's going to be hard to get there, but I'll find a way. The It's funny because it's about a block away from uh, the what is currently this Indian restaurant is Zitter Pharmacy, Ziter Pharmacy. However, once upon a time, Zitter Pharmacy was actually a family video. And boy, do I miss family video. I miss video stores in general. I love, physical media. I've talked about that in the past. And I used to go to that family video store all the time. I miss video stores in general. I get really nostalgic thinking about how awesome they were. I used to go, one of my traditions was always to go. Welcome, Mark. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you joining. You don't have to spy. Just let me know if you have any questions, any thoughts, any comments on Freemasonry. These 1 a.m. streams, I just hang out and chat. Honestly, oftentimes we'll talk about topics completely unrelated to Freemasonry. But first and foremost, I'd love to hear your thoughts on Freemasonry, your ideas, your comments, just even anything you've heard about Freemasonry and what you think of it. What was I saying? Yeah, it was one of my traditions is I'd go to family video and I'd rent either Weekend at Bernie's or Weekend at Bernie's Part 2 and watch that movie before I would travel down to Chicago. It was like a weird tradition I had because I loved those movies. I still do. I love traveling to Chicago. And it was a weird thing. I always feel like before I went to Chicago, I had to watch Weekend at Bernie's 1 and 2. I don't know why. I mean, I think it is worth becoming a police officer, Ryan, if you care about people and you want to make the world a better place. But I'm sure it's very scary. I'd be very scared. I was, worked in criminal justice. I saw what police officers had to go to. It would definitely, it takes, I think, a very brave person to be a police officer. I'm an enthusiast. I'm an enthusiast, not a member. What do you mean by enthusiast, Mark? Do you mean that you like Freemasonry? You enjoy studying it, researching it? You enjoy learning about it? Can you tell me more what you mean by being an enthusiast of Freemasonry? Maybe you have family or friends who are themselves Freemasons? By the way, Mark, I hope you'll hit the like button and subscribe button. Oil up, buddy. I'm coming over there right now. Well, don't threaten me with a good time, math debater. I see what you did there with your name, by the way. It sounds like another word. However, I'm going to be very careful and really emphasize the TH and say math debater. What type of math do you debate? I don't think I make a good Mason, though, because I'm not the best socially. That's okay. Honestly, Alonzo, and I'm not saying you... Oh, we got a boat. I'm not saying you should join for this reason or nothing. But I have known people who struggle with social anxiety or struggle with social challenges and join Freemasonry and find that they are able to overcome some of their social anxiety and social awkwardness. So, I'm not saying, again, you don't have to join. There are many ways that you can try to overcome your what's the word? Your social anxiety, if you have any, So I think Freemasonry is absolutely one way that you can do so. Enthusiast. Grandpa was a Mason and I really enjoy history. Okay, that's very cool. My grandfather was a Freemason, as well as my father. Both of my grandfathers were Freemasons, as well as my father, as well as an uncle. And it's something I take a lot of pride in. You're going to see some of their Masonic jewels and memorabilia from their history if you join me for my 24-hour live stream starting August 21st at 2 p.m. Eastern. So, Mark, math debater, who I guess debates linear algebra and differential equations, I hope that you guys will both hit the like button and both hit the subscribe button. And let me know if there's anything that you want to chat about. Did your grandfather ever talk to you about Freemasonry, Mark? Or what did he ever tell you about it? Are there secrets? So, Alonzo, there are secrets that I choose not to talk about. There are no secrets that I can't talk about, in the sense that if I were to share secrets, nothing would happen to me. All the secrets, that you could want are actually already on the internet anyways. But rather, I choose not to share secrets because for me, sharing secrets will interfere with the bond I have between my brothers. And that's not something that I would want. Okay, so did your family, like your grandfather or your father, who may have known your great-grandfather, ever talk about what they saw with your great-grandfather and your his Masonic experience? Yes, just as Ryan says, then they won't be secrets. It's funny. I'm just looking. So to find the name of that restaurant or the address of it, I went to Google Maps. People don't know this, but what you can do with Google Maps is you can go back in time and look at street views from previous dates and years. So I went to the street view and I'm going back and I'm finding street views from October 2018, September 2017, May 2014, July 2012, where you see family video and you see the old family video all set up and operating with the signs and the advertisements. It's very nostalgic for me. Rylan Fish says hello. Hello, Ryan. Please hit the like and subscribe button. I mean, people love the esoteric stuff. That's not what Freemasonry is all about, to be honest. Freemasonry is not about the esoteric stuff, at least in my opinion. Some would disagree with me. And there's no secret vault. I wish there was. It'd make my life more interesting, but there's no secret vault. I am live streaming talking about Freemasonry, Rylan. I hope you hit the like button and subscribe button. I'm sorry about that. But Mark, I'm sorry he's gone. He sounds like he was a great dude, a very brave dude for being willing to serve in Korea. Let me know, is there any things that you know about Freemasonry in particular that you kind of like about it or questions about it? I've been a Freemason since 2007. I certainly don't know everything about Freemasonry, but I can at least share with you my experiences and what I know about it. I'm not an expert by any means on Masonic history, but I know my basics. At least I like to think I do. And I hope, Mark, you will consider joining me for my 24-hour live stream on August 21st, starting 2 p.m., and my Instagram stream on August 20th at 3 p.m. I am on Instagram as well. Please follow me on Instagram as well, Square and Compass Promotions. I'd much appreciate it. There are degrees in Freemasonry. There's 3 that matter: Entered Apprentice, Fellow Craft, Master Mason. The Master Mason degree came a little bit later than the other degrees, but it's modeled on the kind of stonemason guilds version of training, and they are a very important part of the Masonic experience. Yes, I think those are very important things. Community and brotherhood, that is a big part of what Freemasonry is, why Freemasonry is such an important part of so many people's lives. So would you say that that is what you think the most important things about Freemasonry are, Mark, brotherhood and community, or do you have any other maybe thoughts on it and what just in general you think Freemasonry might make Freemasonry so important? I mean, I think you could say the 30th. I mean, the highest degree is the third degree. Everything after that is not higher or lower. It's just kind of an honorific almost, is maybe how I might consider describing that. Um, 33rd, really, it's an honorary degree. So when you say significance, it references somebody who's done a lot for Freemasonry in various ways. Um, and so, yeah, I think that is kind of, well, you always will gain some knowledge in terms of what the next thing is that you can learn, right? So for me, for example, I'm 18th degree Scottish Rite, so I don't know what happens, 19th through 32nd or anything to that extent. But you don't gain any more status, put it that way, if that makes any sense, than what you would gain beforehand. You gain but you do gain knowledge, at least of what is in those degrees. But much of it is honorifics. No, I agree with you completely. That is absolutely what makes it work, which is people helping each other and trying to support each other. And that I think is a lesson that hopefully we can apply outside of ourselves to the community at large, right? I think that's the best thing about Freemasonry, truly, is that we can hopefully demonstrate to the world at large that when people are willing to work together, when people are willing to show signs of brotherhood to each other and with each other, you can actually have a much better, a much more successful world. Well, so I mean, it's tough because I'm not 19th degree or above, so I can't speak. Generally, knowledge, really, that to my understanding is specific to Freemasonry, history of Freemasonry or philosophical ideas. It's not, for example, where can we find the treasure of the universe or anything like that, although that would be really cool, or like secret spaceships. It's nothing that would, I'm trying to think of how to describe it. It's nothing that would impact political systems, governments, things of that nature. So, of course, that is what they'd want me to say. Take that for whatever it's worth. But there's some also Masonic myths are on some of our ancient stonemason brethren, as well as Knights Templar stuff is there as well. I'm not sure what that means. What would you say if you were above your rank I'm not sure what you mean by that. I mean, I don't think by definition you can't really be above your rank, right, Mark? Like my rank is again, the rank that matters is Master Mason, right? That's the rank that's the most important. Because for example, if you are a 33rd degree Mason and you're sitting in a Masonic lodge with a 3rd degree Mason, you're both considered of equal rank within the lodge. Um, and you can be a 33rd degree Mason, but if the worshipful master, who's a master Mason in the lodge, tells you to sit down or be quiet or you're causing disruptions in the lodge, whatever it is, he is in control. Having a 33rd degree gives you no more power or control or influence over the lodge than, being a 3rd degree. It's not like you're 11 times better as a Mason. Um, the Templar stuff is crazy. A lot of it is played up for, entertainment purposes and media, but it is kind of cool. No worries, Mark. I am up late, Douglas, but I do 1 a.m. streams often. By the way, this is just a reminder. Please don't forget to take a moment and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, jump in the poll, and please join me on August 21st, starting 2 p.m. Eastern, for a 24-hour live stream. It's going to be an absolute blast. I hope that you guys will join me for that. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to be going over all of my different Masonic items, tokens, coins, pins, Masonic tarot cards, aprons, to give you a preview. I've shown a bunch of these. Let's see if I can find a new one to show off. Coins like, pull one out at random. Coins like, I'm trying to think of a really cool one to show to kind of get people excited. Well, then you definitely want to join me, Alonzo, on August 21st, because I'm going to be showing off coins like this one. This is from the Grand Lodge of Missouri. So by all means, please make sure to come down. Or I'm going to talk about where I got them, what's on it, the story behind it, as much as I can remember anyways. I'm going to talk about ways that we can save these coins, display them. You mentioned Knights Templar in Canada, or Knights Templar. If you check out, this one here, it's backwards. Give me 1 second. I'm going to try something quickly because I want to make sure I can do this on the day of. Okay, so that's my microphone. That's my chips. But give me 1 second. I don't know what you guys can see here right now. There it is. Check out this Knights Templar coin. Let me see if you guys can see it well. Yeah, get it a little closer. I got the Knights Templar Canada. This was from 2009. So, "125 years sovereign Great Priory of Canada." So yeah. So we're going to be showing all those coins. Whenever I can remember from whence they came, I will show them. I'll talk about the origins of them, how I got them insured, why I think we as Freemasons need to create coins like this. This one is like a poker chip. I got this one from Texas. It feels like a poker chip. I love this coin because it's just so big. This is from Colorado. You can see that's Buzz Aldrin on there on the moon. Oh my Lord, and so many more. So yeah, there's, I don't know how many coins are in this bag. I've shown all the pins. So if you like challenge coins, if you like pins, he was a Mason. He was a Mason, and he was the second man on the moon. he was a good Masonic charitable brother, and did not stop Neil Armstrong from going out first, because he wasn't in it for the glory. But he was there. I forget the number of Masonic astronauts. I used to know it. I think four or five have been astronauts, but I could be mistaken about the exact number. It doesn't help the conspiracy theorists when I mention that, because a lot of them already believe the Earth is flat and space is fake. And then when you add Freemasons into it, they just, believe it even more, which causes troubles. He was actually a Mason out of Colorado and then out of Texas. So Texas claimed the moon. Texas Masons claimed the moon for themselves because of course they did. Of course they did. Why wouldn't they? Tranquility Lodge number 2000. And technically it meets right now in Texas, but I'm telling you, eventually it's going to find its way to the moon, and that's going to be awesome when it does. Well, it's become a conspiracy theorist, this idea that Masons faked the moon landing for some reason. I don't know what we did. But no, so what happened is when Buzz Aldrin was going up to the moon, when Buzz Aldrin was going up to the moon, he was in Texas. He was a Freemason. He went to the Texas Masons and he said, I'm going to the moon. Can I bring anything Masonic? Just so it's a cool little piece of Masonic trivia. The Grand Lodge of Texas gave him dispensation and gave him some Masonic items to bring to the moon, which he did, and to my knowledge are still there. And technically, the Grand Lodge of Texas ended up claiming the moon, or at least Tranquility Landing Base on the moon, which is definitely, made, added some interesting ideas to conspiracy theorists believing some crazy stuff. So I saw something by Candace Owens, who I'm no fan of, but saying ever since I found out that Buzz Aldrin was a Freemason, it's even harder for me to believe that the moon landing took place. So it's all right, what are you gonna do? I personally hate conspiracy theorists like that. I think that they are terrible. They're kind of ruining the country. But that's a whole other can of tuna for a whole other day. So yeah, we'll leave it there. But yes, Buzz Aldrin went to the moon, and so we can say Freemasonry 100% landed on the moon. And I'm a member of Tranquility Lodge. Actually, it's one of my favorite things. One of my favorite little, I'm very honored to be part of Tranquility Lodge in Texas. Welcome. I hope you are doing well. Please hit that like and subscribe button if you are just joining us. Let me know if there's anything you want to talk about when it comes to Freemasonry. Any thoughts you have, positive, negative, or neutral, I'd love to hear them. He was a credit to Freemasonry. He's just a credit to everything. But certainly he was absolutely, I think, a credit to Freemasonry. And we should all be proud of everything that he kind of accomplished. To Texas, you should go to Texas for the food. If you were smart, you would go to Texas for the food. The Texas food is incredible and unbelievable. I've been to Texas 3 or 4 times. Yes, Courtney would know. If anybody would know, it would be Courtney. No, Texas food is wonderful. Although I've said this, I think, a couple times now. If not, I'm going to mention it again. The greatest Masonic meal I've ever had was in Brazil, in Rio de Janeiro. So the food was incredible. And genuinely some of the best food I've ever had. So if you ever get the chance and you're lucky enough to visit Rio de Janeiro, the Masonic food at least is so good. No, it was, so they were celebrating, Alonzo, a anniversary of the formation of one of their Grand Lodges, and a big part of that was they had a banquet, and the banquet they had was absolutely incredible. Like, I remember it was legitimately some of the best pasta I've ever had in my whole life. It was like a pasta with leeks, which was so good. Followed by, they had this really good pork with like apricots. They had, I can't even think of all the stuff now. Really crazy good mashed potatoes with truffles. Like, oh my Lord, was it good. Well, now you're talking about British food, Courtney. Corned beef and cabbage. I feel like it's more like British than Texas. I could be wrong though, but I always view that as like British food first and foremost, which is delicious, by the way. I love British food. I like food. For me, my favorite, I've said this before, my favorite food 100% starts and ends with seafood, raw oysters in particular. I adore seafood. I also really like Indian food, and we just had a brand new Indian place open up in Windsor. So, or no, I don't know how new it is, but I just discovered it 2 days ago, and I ate there, and it was crazy good. Crazy good. Shepherd's pie is really good. Oh, Mark, what's a member? I love all my Masonic brothers, of course. How could I not? They're all so wonderful. No, we as Freemasons like to pretend or argue, right? Obviously, part of being a Freemason means not all of us are going to, part of being a human being is not all of us get along with each other all the time, which is perfectly okay, by the way. That's human nature. But hopefully we as Freemasons have the tools to be able to deal with ourselves and deal with those disputes successfully and not, not allow it to be things that remain as negative feelings or where we feel like we need to forget about another brother's. Sure, just give me some dates and I'll let you know what I can do. EA Freemason, you're making me hungry over here. That food all sounds absolutely delicious. I mean, feel free to invite your dad along too if he wants to join. He's more than welcome. I feel like Texas would make really good mac and cheese. I personally can't recall having mac and cheese in Texas, but I'm sure I did. Like, I'm trying to remember the food I actually had in Texas. It was all like barbecue. It was briskets. It was whatever the lodges were serving. Because, I mean, I relied primarily on the lodges to, like, make sure I had enough food to survive because I didn't have a ton of money. So, but the food was great. I remember the lodges cooked it all, so. Well, Benedict Arnold was a Freemason. Benedict Arnold was a Freemason. So there was literally a Benedict Arnold in Freemasonry. I mean, it's like everything else, right? Freemasons are not superhuman. We are subject to the same weaknesses and mistakes and as anybody else. Hopefully with Freemasonry, we can try our best to be a little bit better and fight against some of those things. But anything you find that's negative outside in the world, you're going to find Freemasons doing as well, for better or worse, which sucks. Don't get me wrong. But yeah, and maybe, from Benedict Arnold's perspective, maybe he did not feel that he himself was being a traitor, right? From his perspective, maybe he felt that George Washington was the traitor and he was supportive of the British, right? Who knows? I'm not quick to judge too harshly on that stuff because there were plenty of American Masons who sided with the British and felt that what George Washington was doing was treasonous. So, but yeah, Benedict Arnold was himself a Freemason, which keeps things interesting. Well, you're not wrong, Mark. One of our biggest problems is we're so not seen in the community. I wish that we as Freemasons were better about being seen more, being more relevant to people's lives, seen more day to day. All right, I think it's a shame that we're not seen as often as I wish we were. That I'm glad to hear Tampa has a lot of free. I mean, Florida is a pretty decent Masonic jurisdiction in terms of size, right? So, yeah, that's a really good thing. Florida, like I've been to Orlando, Florida a few times. Really, really enjoyed it, loved it. I think Orlando, Florida was one of my most fond Masonic memories. I'm never there for long, but whenever I get there, I always really enjoy it. Tyler Danielson, what's going on, Tyler? Please hit that like and subscribe button. Let me know how you're doing, and let me know if there's anything that you want to talk about in Freemasonry. Any thoughts you have, positive, negative, or neutral? I'd love to hear them. I mean, I think I remember the name, but I don't know for sure. Well, we don't have any, like, you'd have to ask each Freemason, right? There's 850,000 Masons. There's 850 in the States. There's 850,000 probably different views on it. I have no opinion on Scientology one way or the other. I don't know enough about it to say. My general rule is if something brings people peace and happiness, then, I'm not going to knock it. But I would say I've never heard Scientology discussed in Freemasonry at all, one way or the other, in either a positive light or a negative light or a neutral light. So, who knows? Remember Egghead? I do not. But then again, I do a lot of these streams, and it's 2 in the morning, so who knows how much I remember anything. But if you are here, please take a moment, and you're new, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Let me know if there's anything you want to talk about. We'll be ending this stream soon. Well, it's easy to be nice on online, right? Well, no, I mean, the name Tyler sounds vaguely familiar. I just can't place it. Like Tyler Danielson. I just can't place where I heard it. It might be 11:40 or 11. For you, it's 2 in the morning for me. Hence, I'm going to be ending this stream soon. But please take a moment, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, follow me on all my socials, because we are going to be having, there's times I was in Canada too, Tyler, a lot of things coming up. And if you're following me on social media, you'll keep getting the announcements of when they're happening. I am in Ontario. So there's actually 2 time zones in Ontario, I think, but I'm in the Eastern time zone. Well, that is definitely not true. Canada is a very big country. I think, if I recall correctly, Canada is the second biggest country in the world, like in terms of size, just square feet, or I guess acres, or I don't know how you measure the size of countries. So it's got, I think, 3 time zones. It's either got 3 or 4. Well then, Tyler, hit the like button before your phone dies, and hope to see you again tomorrow. Well, thank you, Tyler. Then hit that like button before you go. I've not seen it. Is it any good? I really want to see. I really want to see. Weapons. I haven't seen that one yet. The new scary movie. Um, I really want to see The Long Walk. I really want to see him. Those movies all look incredible. Well, I appreciate that, Tyler. Well, so it's the Catholic Church had a few different, Freemasonry welcomes, basic men of any religious faith or belief in a supreme being. But the Catholic Church throughout the years has had a few different, shall we say, fights with Freemasonry for different reasons. It considers, amongst many other reasons, if you read Pope Leo XIII's work, Humanum Genus, which came out like 1888, it basically is a pope, and he lays out the Catholic Church's views on Freemasonry. Because, amongst other things, Freemasonry welcomes men of all different faiths, they consider it heretical. Though I'm not quite sure why they have that view, because many things in society welcome men of all faiths without issue. And they have some other views as well. But yeah, the Catholic Church, as of right now, the Catholic Church, if you are Mason and you're a Catholic, you're supposedly not allowed to take communion. However, I know many who Catholic Freemasons for whom it's not an issue. So you kind of take that for what it's worth. Dog Eat Dog. Hello, Dog Eat Dog. I hope you're doing well. Don't forget to hit that like button. We're going to be jumping off stream in a second, but thank you for being here. I hope you're doing well, and I hope you'll remember to join me on August 21st, starting 2 p.m. for the second 24-hour live stream. I mean, again, to what extent it's actually enforced, I don't know, because from what I've seen, most lodges you're allowed to take communion. So, or sorry, most Catholic Masons I know attend their church, and it's no issue. So, all is well for me. I hope all is well for you as well, Dog Eat Dog. Yes, I saw the first 2 episodes. I really enjoyed them. I thought they were awesome. No, I loved them a lot. So. It reminded me, some of the shots, I don't know for sure, but some of those shots reminded me a lot of Dead Space. And as somebody who loves those video games, I thought that was really, really cool. Not a ton of video games, certainly not compared to serious gamers, but there are some I enjoy. I have a PS3 and that's what I play, but I really enjoyed Dead Space. I really enjoyed all three Dead Spaces, but especially I really enjoyed. Uh, they were all so good, but the second one I liked quite a bit. Maybe the second was probably my favorite Dead Space. Um, well, no worries, Mark. I understand that completely, and that's absolutely no worries. I mean, you don't have to join. It's just I appreciate you even just being here. Certainly, if you want to support my stuff, you can do so for free. Just liking, subscribing, sharing, blah blah blah, all that good jazz. But in terms of Freemasonry, there's no rush. Honestly, though, for what it's worth, in my experience, Freemasonry is not crazy expensive usually. I understand, even a little bit even a little bit of cost can be a lot. So I say like it's not a lot of money. Usually, let's say $400 to $500 to join would be a rough average. I completely get that for a lot of people that's a lot of money and that's no trouble. That'd be a lot of money for me right now, to be honest. Um, but yeah, no worries at all. Social capital is a real thing. Yes, do your proficiency work. No worries at all, Courtney. But thank you for being here. I'm going to be ending the stream in a second, anyways. Did I catch it? Oh, not quite. And Freemasonry helps a lot of people with their social capital. So that is something to keep in mind and something I'm very proud of when it comes to Freemasonry is how much we do help people with their social capital. I think it's one of the best things about Freemasonry. One of the things I'm most proud of in Freemasonry is how we allow people who might not otherwise have it to have social capital and what that means for their health. People with good social capital are more likely to be healthier, live longer lives, be more secure financially and otherwise. Well, that's not the point of this for me. The point of this for me is just to talk about my experiences with Freemasonry and why I love it so much. And to get people on board, not so much with joining Freemasonry, because we don't recruit and I believe in that, it should be an individual choice, but to get people on board with just thinking Freemasonry is a good thing for the world. The reason I think that's important is, Mark, you may decide to never join Freemasonry, which is perfectly within your right and awesome. But, watching this stream, you may develop a positive view of Freemasonry. And then if a friend came to you and said, hey, I'm thinking about joining Freemasonry, you will be able to say, yeah, I think you should. I know Cameron, or I know, the Square and Compass podcast, this Mason called Cameron talks about it. It's not to get people on board with joining. That's a personal choice. It's great. The purpose is to just encourage people to have a positive view of Freemasonry. That's really what I want. Whether you join or not, I want people to have a positive view of Freemasonry and what it does for the community in which we all communities in which we all live. If that makes any sense. And I hope you'll take a moment. I hope you hit that like and subscribe button if you're hanging out, and let me know if there's anything that you want to talk about in Freemasonry. Any thoughts you have, positive, negative, or neutral, I'd love to hear them. That is something to keep in mind as well, Mark, and I'm glad you brought that up. One of the things that we as need to remember is when we talk about the cost of being a Freemason, yes, there's the cost of your initiation fees and your dues, which again aren't crazy as a general rule. But there's also the cost of just travel cost. How far away are you from the lodge? Would you need to take time off of work to attend? Would it cost a lot of money in gas? If it just even taking time with your family. If it's going to cost you, let's say, $10 in gas both directions just to get there, that's a cost that needs to be considered as well. And then there's the cost of time. So, no, that makes 100% a lot of sense to me. But like I said, it's just I appreciate you being here. And again, Mark, if you want to support this channel and my efforts to support Freemasonry, you can become a Patreon for free. Patreon.com/SquareandCompass. I'll put the info on here. You can join that for free. You can follow me on social media, all that good jazz. Come to my live stream on August 21st, my 24-hour live stream. We're going to go over all of those things I just showed. And I hope in the meantime you are doing well, and thank you so much for being here. But very good point to bring up, Mark. There's a lot of cost to Freemasonry, far beyond the normal and the simple dues and assessments. So, yeah. No worries. Same thing, Alonzo. Same thing, Mark. If you guys do want to get the chance, like button, subscribe button. Join the Patreon, I meant to say. You can join it completely for free. And just having you be part of the membership would be awesome and very, very much appreciated. We're going to give this another, let's say, 5 minutes. I'm just curious to see if anybody else jumps on before we end this stream. But as I always say, hit like, hit subscribe, join my Patreon, follow me on all my stuff, follow me on Instagram, where I'll be having my live, Insta Live 3 to 6 coming up in August 20th. And anything else you want to talk about, I'd love to hear it. Tomorrow, my 1 p.m. stream, I'm probably going to be talking about the quote that I included above from Dostoevsky, who was not a Freemason, I don't believe. Let me just double check. Actually, I'm going to look at that tomorrow because now I'm curious. I'm trying to remember. No worries, Mark. Take off. I appreciate you being here. You just want to take a Dostoevsky? Yeah, he was Russian. He's a lot of people's favorite authors. I can't spell his name to save my life. Well, it depends when and where and when, because certainly the Soviet Union was not a fan of Freemasonry, but pre-Soviet and post-Soviet Freemasonry is alive and well in Russia. I'm hoping that the corrective text will take over. Here it is. Dostoevsky. He was from 1821 to 1881, so before the Soviet Union took over, to my understanding. There is evidence Dostoevsky had connection to individuals who were Freemasons, and some of his writings contain symbolic elements. Dostoevsky was part of a social circle that included Freemasonry. Well, Freemasonry in Russia, as well as a lot of places in the former Soviet Union, were both very old and very new, in the sense that it existed pre-Soviet and then reformed in the 90s, post the Soviet era. So, an interesting kind of piece of trivia for you. Your last comment? I didn't see anything wrong with your last comment, unless there's something I missed. I just appreciate you being here. It's not something I know a ton about. I'm trying to learn more about it as I go, to be honest. But it is fascinating. Um, it is fascinating. Freemasonry in kind of just Europe in general, Eastern Europe especially, the former Soviet Union is really fascinating. So I think it's 100% worth exploring. Well, for history of Freemasonry country-wise, it really starts and ends with the United Kingdom, specifically England or Scotland. Um, that is kind of the most important Masonic history because that's where it started. But the Philippines, Italy, Brazil, their history, Canada, United States, the history of all these countries is so connected to Freemasonry in a variety of ways that, I mean, almost any country, you'll find some Masonic connection at some point, which is, one of the really cool parts about Freemasonry, is how ubiquitous it was. It also gives conspiracy theorists a lot of ammunition sometimes, but that's okay. What can you do? It is. I mean, I would say maybe think about the Philippines. Uh, they have some really incredible Masonic history. Jose Rizal is worth exploring. Sometimes that's the case. You'd think they would think more positively about it, but it's a, it's a whole other can of tuna. I'm just waiting to see. Oh, Sox won. Go White Sox. What's going on, Marco Perez? I'm just hanging out. I'm going to be ending this stream soon, but I figured um, I'd hang out for a minute, see who joins. We had Tampa mentioned earlier. Apparently, there's a lot of Freemasons in Tampa. I don't know if that's the case, but uh, I've been to Masonic, a few Masonic events in Florida. Always Orlando, but I loved it. Aside from the fact I got a crazy bad sunburn when I was in Florida. Not as bad as the one I just got in Windsor a couple days ago, but it was up there. That sounds like a lot of. That sounds like the documentary is taking liberties for dramatic effect to make it more interesting than it is, which I don't mind if it gets people to join, but that is not the case. I mean, because oh my gosh, happy 37 years anniversary to A Nightmare on Elm Street for the Dream Master. I guess it was released 37 years ago today. The Nightmare on Elm Street Part 4, The Dream Master, is my favorite. It was released August 19th. Is my favorite movie of all time. I love it. So, well, it doesn't teach in that sense, right? Freemasonry, um, there are kind of philosophical ideas in it, but it doesn't teach things in that sense. It doesn't teach salvation nor damnation nor anything religious in that sense. It kind of teaches skills and certain philosophies. It's kind of like if you're a football player, like football doesn't teach you anything philosophical or theological, but it teaches you about the importance of teamwork. It teaches you about the importance of staying fit. It teaches you skills as how to be a good football player. Freemasonry teaches you the skills of how to be a Freemason, as well as certain skills around things like how to run and organize a meeting successfully, how to administer discussions, how to work with others, especially others you may not agree with, things of that nature. But any talk about like Freemasonry doesn't, nobody's ever left a Masonic lodge and had some great spiritual teaching, or if they are, then I don't think they're understanding precisely what's happening. But that's my opinion on it. I speak for myself exclusively. Take that for what it's worth. But Freemasonry does not teach anything contrary to kind of the religious beliefs of its membership, or the civic beliefs, or et cetera, et cetera. You know, the thing to check out really would be the Humanum Genus paper by Pope Leo XIII. One of the things I'm really interested in is the new Pope, who I guess is now Pope Leo XIV. He was born in 1955 in Chicago. You know, Freemasonry was crazy ubiquitous in Chicago at the time, as well as just America in general. He would have, growing up, had more experience with it than almost anybody else, almost any other pope, I should say. So it makes me think and wonder if he may have a softer view of Freemasonry and maybe more willing to, reconsider the church's position on it. But I hope that you guys are doing well. Please, as always, take a moment, hit the like and subscribe button. Let me know if there's anything you want to talk about. I see what you did there. Yes, Alonzo, please tell him to lighten up a little bit. Just be cool, right? But again, he would have more, I believe, um, more direct in, what's the word? More direct knowledge of Freemasons, if not Freemasonry, than the previous popes, who it was not as ubiquitous when they were growing up and where they were growing up and things like that. Freemasonry was pretty popular in Chicago in the 1950s, as it was throughout much of America. I mean, if you have a direct line to the Pope, please send it to me. I can't give him a call. I don't think he's going to take my calls, But if anybody could get in touch with him and say Cameron would like you very much to lighten up, I would appreciate it. Well, that should help then. Give a call. Give a call. And like I said, I know many Catholic Freemasons. It doesn't seem to be an issue for them. So it could be one of those things of I just don't know how much it's actually being enforced. All right. We are going to be ending this stream. Thank you, everybody, for being part of it. I'll be back in about 12 hours, 1 p.m. And yeah, we're going to talk about that quote I provided. And once again, go through the things I have coming up. So thank you guys so much. Hit the like, hit the subscribe button. I'll be back soon. All right, talk to you guys later.